Thank you all for coming out to Pitcher's Mound. We're very excited to share this show with you. This is one of, as I've said before, one of my favorite of the original shows that Pronoia puts on. What we've done for you tonight is we've brought together a collection of 4 writers and 4 actors. The writers have each prepared a script that will be read to you by the actors that we have. Our writers tonight are Natalie Vaughn, Ben Seidensticker, Andrea Santoni, and of course, Garrett. Our actors are Welch, Saltsman, Kathryn Noser, and Diana Alcaraz. Why don't we go ahead and bring on our writers? We, of course, you'll only see 3 of our writers if you're watching the live stream. That is because... Oh, no, you will see all 4. I forgot. It got fixed. We found a workaround to bring in our Italian correspondent successfully. Excessive cleverness, and the deed is done. These will be our 4 writers tonight. They've each prepared a script. We, the actors, will be performing those scripts. Afterwards, the writers will have a discussion on the subject of the writing. This is for both the writer's benefit and also for yours at home if you are an aspiring writer. I think with very little to no more ado, we can probably go ahead and get into our first script, which is by Natalie Vaughn and is entitled Charges Dropped. Interior Law Office. Client and attorney are in first meeting to discuss client's case.
So, what can I do for you?
Thank you so much for taking the time to see me.
Well, I bill by the minute, so let's get into it, shall we?
Of course. I was pulled over by an officer of the law recently and was issued multiple tickets that I need your help with.
You've come to the right place. I've seen it all, trust me. I have seen it all. Minor traffic tickets, drugs, police brutality, all the filth humanity has to offer.
Okay. Well, hopefully my case isn't that bad. No felony charges here.
Client starts to chuckle and quickly stops as Janet is staring at him with a disgusted look on her face. It begins to grow awkward with the uncomfortable silence.
Believe me when I say the system is always out to screw you. I tell my kids that every chance I get. This system will screw you to hell.
Right. Anyhow, I was pulled over for speeding. I didn't think it was that fast, maybe 5 to 10 miles per hour over the limit, but the officer clocked me in at maybe 20 or 25.
I had this case once. Really nice guy, young guy like you, had his whole future ahead of him, except then he didn't.
Okay, well, that sounds awful.
He totally got screwed by the whole system. It started when the cops pulled him out of the car during a routine traffic stop and made him do all kinds of DUI tests on the spot. Bark like a dog, sing in Spanish, line dance. He did everything they asked. I have the video of him nailing that line dance. He nailed that dance. Anyway, they still took his ass to jail on a DUI.
Wow, that's terrible and incredibly alarming. I had no idea just how unfair it could be.
Ruined his whole life.
Unfortunately, speeding wasn't the only thing that the officer gave me a citation for. You see, I didn't think it had changed to red, but apparently it had been a red light, so there was that as well.
Reminds me of a case I had about 5-6 years ago. Guy gets pulled over for running a red. Anyway, long story short, very short, like his future. He gets pulled over. Cop starts going through his car. They wind up planting crack cocaine in the car, book the guy, and haul his ass in on drug charges. Poor schmuck. I had to visit him in jail to start work on his case, and they were forcing the poor bastard to eat meat. He had been plant-based for close to 10 years, and the motherfuckers had him eating meat. I don't have to tell you it wasn't organic. This system shows no mercy.
Client, putting his head in his hands for a moment.
Wait, do you think I'm going to jail if this doesn't get fixed?
Client pulls out a fan.
Excuse me, I need to fan myself. I'm getting overheated. Quite frankly, I'm starting to get really alarmed about what might happen here. I'm not gonna lie. I'm getting freaked out. No CBD oil, freaked out. Double dose prescription meds, freaked out.
You know what this justice system is up to.
Well, shit, that's why I've hired you, right? I'm sorry. I'm getting worked up. I didn't mean to use that language here, but it wasn't just the speeding and the red light. It was also a little bit of weed, dirty weed, not even the good stuff, but still, he wrote me a ticket for that too. Oh no. Do you think that's a deal breaker? Am I going to be charged with something more? You gotta help me.
I've been around for years. It's all about getting the right representation.
Thank you so.
As long as this doesn't turn out like Jimmy.
Jimmy?
Worst thing I've seen in my 32 years of being a criminal defense attorney.
I'm going to have one of my anxiety meds. Can I go ahead and use this water?
Old Jimmy Martin, pulled over, had marijuana on him. We're talking a small joint here, not the heavy stuff, nothing white. Anyway, they pull him over and they haul Jimmy's ass out of that car so fast, pushed him into an ant pile on the side of the road and held him there. He had so many ant bites. The scratching went on for weeks until
what? What happened to Jimmy?
Until the scratching got so bad he couldn't live with it all. All that calamine lotion, he was so pink at the end of it, he couldn't take it anymore. Ultimately, he decided to end it.
No. You gotta help me. You just got to help me, please. I'm begging you.
Let me tell you, it always gets worse.
No, my whole future is ruined. The system will get me either way. There's no point. There's just no point.
Client proceeds to grab a letter opener off of Janet's desk and stab it into his neck. He falls to the floor, dead. Janet calls over off a speaker phone system.
Yes, Miss Janet?
God damn it, Pedro. You left a damn letter opener on my desk again.
Black. Now, if our writers will come on, you have 15 minutes to discuss this piece.
Hello, everybody. Does anybody want to begin their thoughts on this, or should I launch into things?
I can begin. Yeah, I assume we'll have
please.
plenty of time. I think this will be good. Yeah. The first thing I noticed, I liked that we really knew what this was about from basically the first page. Always love to see that in a sketch. Like, okay, I get it. Like, there's this really hard attorney who's seen some stuff, and we've got this naive client. I loved getting that set up very quickly. So that was cool to see.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. I echo Ben's comments there. The relationship is very clear. The situation is clear. We are not confused at all about what is coming around. And then I think you do a lot of fun things with the attorney specifically in regards to her stories. I really enjoyed her stories. And specifically he nailed that line dance. I thought that was a particularly funny line.
I really thought the ladies did a great job in delivering it and everything. I really, really liked what they did. Kathryn, I thought, was a great Janet. And I loved it all. I thought they were really good in their delivery.
I'm going to set this up because I think Andrea will disagree with me, and I think disagreement is productive. But your ending struck me as something that Andrea would write, and I do think that I think that you can reach a little higher on that ending. I think that the kind of sudden death comes a little out of nowhere, and I don't think it necessarily serves any particularly either character relationship moment there. You know, I might want a different sort of surprise or something else from the attorney rather than getting out that way, just because I think it's kind of for me it was an unsatisfying ending is perhaps what I should say.
I had thought about cutting to a courtroom and doing something and bringing a judge in, but I didn't go there because I have a tendency, as you know, I think, to keep writing and writing and writing, and then I'm like, oh God, there's no ending coming anywhere near this.
Well, I like the ending, so yeah, there's that.
Yeah, I knew you.
But you know me, so yeah, you know I'm a big fan of like killing characters, and I enjoy the sketch a lot. The only way I like even more the ending would for the guy that stabs itself to be completely honest. So no like more bad things, like this completely naive guy that did absolutely nothing wrong, and of course because of the lawyer is like this type of lawyer go to kill himself. That's my only point. I love the sketch.
So you're saying we don't have the escalation of the client saying, oh well, maybe I was going a little faster. Oh well, maybe there was a red light. You're saying that he even shrinks back a little further of
exactly.
I like that point. That's very interesting. That's great, because that would make it even a further disparity between those two. So I really like that, actually.
Ben?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, the death, I don't think that's too alarming for me. To me, I just would want the breadcrumbs to feel like I knew it was coming. Like, oh, the letter opener, it's back. Got it. Like that would really, as an audience member, be like, I should have known. Of course, the letter opener. And I didn't glean that as I was reading through it. I actually, the thought I had when I saw like, and then he decided to end it, and I was like, oh yeah, we think it's suicide, but it's going to be something different. And then it was suicide. I think the possibility's there that there's something else where there you can like we all went there right away.
Yeah, Stephen and I were working on a script recently, and a character was going to incur a punishment, and the original punishment that we had put in there was something very standard, very normal, like a beating or something. And then I said, well, what if we're a little more creative with this punishment? And so we kind of reached into like an own personal hell kind of thing. Reaching down into just some specific moments, Natalie. That Janet is this very no nonsense character, and she's very intense, and she doesn't seem easily impressed, etc. And there are all sorts of places in the script where you say that an awkward, uncomfortable silence ensues, and in almost all of those cases, Janet breaks that silence, and that. To me, it's not that it's like a bad or strange moment at all, but it seems as though if Janet is allowing a silence to go on, that she probably wants to hear something from someone, because otherwise I think she would just keep talking. And I think that's a moment to play with something that, like, especially with actors, where if Janet is just holding her silence and you see the client continue to get stressed out and unnerved by the silence, and then finally start to say something, and then Janet goes in because she's doing something. I don't know if she's intentionally trying to make someone uncomfortable. But that is a moment, at least to me, that I thought you could heighten some and play around with some action moments.
I like that. Okay.
Also, the meat story, I don't have to tell you it wasn't organic. Also, very funny line. That's a strong line.
This all just the premise and everything came from just as very character driven. So then I had to get into, you know, what the actual sketch was going to be, because Janet came from a particular person I have in mind.
What else? Andrea, do you have any?
Oh, there's the bit with the watering can that I loved, absolutely. In which when again, I don't remember the names, the guy that eventually killed himself drink from the watering can just because he's super distressed. I love that part, like absolutely.
I actually thought, sort of going along with Andrea there, whenever you have action in this scene, it's really fun. The client fans himself, which you can imagine is fun. He's drinking from the watering can. That's a lot of fun. And I thought maybe if you wanted to, you could play around a little bit more with whatever the client is doing physically, whether he's got like this paper cup that is slowly getting ground into his hands until it's just a ball of trash, or whether like maybe the client starts getting so nervous that he's picking at something on his shirt and then his shirt starts to unravel. Like I think you could have a lot of fun with just nervous things that the client is doing, that especially during the long stories that Janet is telling, that add not only visual interest to the scene, but also kind of ramp up sort of what Ben was saying, the breadcrumbs of how physically nervous this person
Yes.
is.
Okay. Yes. Put some more physical action with that escalation. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that that could pay off well in future revisions of it. Anything else from anybody?
Yeah, something that I picked up on right away as I was getting to see it performed was when I read it, like Janet sounded very, very tired and angry, and almost like it felt like this like like the jaded, like chain smoking kind of person. And then Kathryn's presentation of it was, so alert and businesslike and really on the nose with it. And I thought that was really cool to see. I feel like Janet could be played with a lot of angles, which was interesting. Like I like seeing the moments where she was very almost admiring of how much the system can screw you. Like, wow, that's what an ingenious way to do that. Yeah, it just kind of thing. Like it'd be interesting to see it done again, where you just get some of those angles too and figure out where some of those moments are.
Yeah,
but
I agree completely.
It's cool. And you mentioned the potential of bringing in the judge. I like the two-person scene. I think that energy pacing wise, just like keeping that and letting that stand on its own is really nice. I feel like the transition it's so hard to maintain the momentum. Then you're trying to set up a new thing.
It is, and then I have the tendency to start rambling and really getting into longer dialogue, and I'm like, we have to stop this. Like, we have to reach a conclusion. So I was like, okay, I knew it was like ramping up really quick, but yes, there's been some valuable input into how to escalate that with the proper breadcrumbs and like taking the audience along a little bit more thoroughly, I think.
Ben, I hadn't thought of her being admiring of the system.
I like that.
Like the ingenuity of it. That's a particularly fun angle that I think could really, like, she's almost excited. I think that could be a lot of fun to see.
Yeah, I don't think it would make sense with all the wording, but just telling an actor, like, can you play it this way one time and just see what that looks like? Would be so fun.
Yeah.
Like, you wish you could do this.
Yeah.
Kind of fun.
Like, it's bad, but I love it.
I had the idea when I first read the script for Janet to be like this old noir detective with a whiskey in hand and cigarettes, saying, "Oh yeah, that was me, and the system will screw you." But there's this little hint of admiration for that, and so yeah, I get that.
Yeah, like a credit where credit's due, man.
Yes, exactly.
They knew how to get him, the meat. They took one look at him and they knew meat. Meat was how we're gonna break this man.
Something else that when I first read it, where it was concerning me, I was trying to figure out, I was like, okay, we need to make sure we always have the audience perspective in this one, because towards the end, the the client really gets caught up in it. So where's that person who gives the audience their viewpoint into this and maintaining that? And I thought Deanna did a good job playing it very sincerely and authentic, and that really helps when you have an over-the-top character like Janet to
Absolutely, yes.
juxtapose with.
I really liked. Yeah, I could tell she was ramping it up properly too. I really liked it as much as she could, but that sincerity, yes.
And there's a line about no felonies here, and then we kind of get later on, it's like more details leak out. Like, is the client supposed to be deceptive? Like, are they really withholding that info, or is this accidentally coming out?
I think where I was coming from, it was like an innocent and kind of just like, he's kind of thinking this shouldn't be a big deal, right? I mean, it was a red light. Like, so I think he really is innocent and just saying like, hey, like, aren't attorneys supposed to help? I mean, like, it shouldn't be that big a deal. It's not like cocaine or anything. Okay. But I don't think he's trying to withhold or be deceptive. I think it's just kind of like, you know,
I kind of felt the same way. Like immediately when he said no felonies, I might be a suspicious person, but I thought he's a liar. This client is lying. So it might be useful, like to put something up at the top, like client is frustrated to be here, but is calm and taking it on the chin. He thinks he's going to get out of here in a couple minutes, sort of thing. Anything from anybody else? Steven says we got 90 seconds. So, any final thoughts on charges dropped?
Bill by the minute was something at the top that I thought was entertaining. Would love to see that come back some way at the end. You know, maybe that's connected to they died. Like, oh, we could have gotten one more minute. Or
I also liked her saying that she tells her kids things, and I imagine.
Well, yeah. Janet is based off of my mother, so that is straight up like kind of admires the law. That cracks me up because I was like, actually, she does talk about it with admiration, so that's quite hilarious that you brought that up because I was like, I didn't even think about that spin on it, but it's evident.
Excellent, Stephen. Are we at time?
Functionally, yeah.
All right.
The margin of error.
Ooh.
All right. Thank you very much. Again, that piece was Charges Dropped by Natalie Vaughn. Our next piece is King of Sweden by Ben Seidensticker.
Brett is sitting on a couch playing Jenga by himself on a coffee table. James enters.
Brett, I feel like it's been weeks since we got mail.
Did you check under the cushions?
Oh, why didn't I think of that?
James looks under one cushion and it's empty. He and Brett share a look for a moment. Then Brett grabs the mail from underneath his own cushion and hands it over to James.
It's all shit anyway, so.
James starts sifting through the mail.
This is my paycheck.
Like I said, shit. You got a postcard from Linda.
James finds the postcard.
Neat. Nottingham Palace, Sweden.
She wants your dick.
Don't be crude.
Yeah, if she writes you a postcard, she wants your dick.
Your Aunt Barbara sent me a postcard from Jamaica.
I rest my case.
People can do thoughtful things for you without wanting your dick.
James turns the postcard over to read the back.
Just trying to help, James.
Did you read my postcard?
Of course not.
How'd you know what it said?
What do you mean?
I'm having a lovely time. Wish you were here. I want your dick.
Brett leaps up from the couch, careful of his Jenga stack.
She actually wrote the words, I want your dick.
You mean you didn't read it?
Oh, read somebody else's postcard? What kind of pervert do you think I am?
It's gotta be a typo. I want your duck. I want your dock. I want your deck. Do we even have a deck?
Brett looks over his shoulder.
I know a dick when I see one.
Shit. I should probably talk to her.
But what does she mean by it?
I think it was explicitly clear. Definitely explicit.
No, if she really wanted your dick, the postcard would have been enough. I mean, there's something else going on here.
So it's like a code?
Yeah. What else did she say?
I'm having a lovely time?
Cry for help. What else?
Wish you were here.
Here. Where exactly is here?
Sweden.
No. The postcard. What's on the postcard?
Drottningham Palace. Guess it's where the King of Sweden lives.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, she wants you to be the new King of Sweden.
She what?
Look, doesn't Linda love all that communist shit?
She thinks a universal basic income would solve a lot of global inequality issues.
Yeah, exactly. Communist shit. She's clearly starting a revolution and wants someone she trusts to be her new king.
Communists want a king?
They're communists. They don't have to make sense.
Wow. I should update my resume.
There's a knock. James answers the door. It's Linda.
James.
Linda.
Hey, Linda. Hey,
Go away, Brett.
I live here.
This is between me and James.
Fine.
Brett exits the other direction.
You got the postcard I sent you 3 weeks ago?
Yeah. I check my mail every day like a responsible adult.
Do you have any questions?
A lot? I didn't realize you felt that way about me.
Neither did I. Until I got to Sweden. Can I come in?
Of course.
James goes to sit on the couch. Linda can't settle down enough to sit.
There's more to that postcard than what I wrote. I have much more complex feelings than that.
I figured that part out.
Oh, good.
I know it's hard to just come right out and say it.
You're weirdly calm about this.
Figured that's what you expected of me.
Well, you know what this could do to our friendship.
I'm prepared to take that risk.
And I want you to know this isn't some fleeting thing for me.
I always figured this was a lifelong position.
I'm so glad you feel the same way.
There's something I have to tell you.
Of course. We can be open and honest with each other.
I have no experience
You mean with,
with any of it.
like, ever? Not even on TV?
Yeah, I guess I have.
Honestly, I can work with that. Hell, you won't have any bad habits.
When did you learn all of this?
In college, like everybody else.
Right, you did that study abroad.
Yeah, good times.
What comes first then?
There's no need to rush. We can just let things develop naturally.
Okay, good. It's not like we have to go to IKEA or anything.
Yeah, that would be way too soon.
So we do have to go?
I mean, eventually, maybe. That's kind of getting ahead of ourselves, right?
And is that part of the job? Am I in charge of IKEA now?
What?
Because I might be able to figure out this king thing, but I know nothing about home organizing.
What are you talking about, James?
Hey, look, I got your postcard, but I'm not ready for this kind of responsibility.
I don't know that I am either, but I realized in Sweden that if I don't tell you how I feel, I'll regret it forever.
I deserve to have a say in this.
Of course you do. I thought when you
I don't want to be the king of Sweden.
Who said anything about being king of Sweden?
It was right there in your postcard.
James, I just want to be more than friends.
Brett!
Blackout.
There we go. Ah,
Right, and
slow
right.
all over. Andrea, I think we lost Andrea for a little bit there, but if he's not back now, hopefully we'll be back soon. Natalie, would you like to say anything to start off our discussion?
There's so many. I just love this sketch. It's really funny. There's so many good lines. I when I read it and hearing it delivered again, just even starting with the paycheck line, like, oh, there's just nothing but shit in here anyways. And he's like, well, he's like, that's my paycheck, and he's like, yeah, it's shit. And just there's so many funny little. I love when they're trying to, even explain the dick typo, getting into that, and then cracking the code of the postcard and trying that whole build up right there. I think it's so fun. I thought that was really funny. I thought Kathryn did a really good job in when she came in as Linda. I really liked that. And thought that her and Steven had a really good thing going on there with the chemistry. And I love that conversation that's going on in that piece of this sketch as well.
Excellent. I've had the pleasure of reading a lot of Ben's work over the years. Ben, this reminded me a lot of Alan and Bobby sketches. I assume you remember those, because you should. You wrote them. And I also imagine that you meant for this to play a little faster than like just speed wise on stage. But of course, we have some limitations online. I was personally left a little like I felt very confused through a lot of the piece while reading through it. I think that what the actors were doing helped clarify a lot of things. For whatever reason, I entered the third sort of act, if you want to call it that, the third act of the script, thinking that James knew his friend was full of shit, and that the twist was going to be that no, he was right, that logic was going to be right. And so I was taken by surprise at the end, because I thought I was being led down a different path. But I'm guessing the idea is that James is just exceedingly gullible, and that Brett is either toying with him for fun, or that Brett is unhappy that his friend's getting something nice and he's not. But I think just because the thing that James is convinced of is so utterly ridiculous, I think I want another example of James being very gullible. We already have him being very gullible with the couch cushions, which in retrospect is a very strong indicator of his gullibility. But if there was just something else that James was convinced of beforehand, then I think I would be more ready to believe that this convoluted, or if James is reading the Da Vinci Code. Also, if James happens to start the sketch reading the Da Vinci Code and then he's led through all of this, I think I would also be willing to believe that James could fall for his roommate's tricks. But at least on my first reading of it, I had some trouble with that. Like Natalie said, though, I think that they're just some spectacular lines in it. Even just starting from the beginning, where you say that the character is playing Jenga by himself, conjures up a really ridiculous image. And then I was hoping it would come back, and it did, when he said he jumps up, careful not to knock over his tower. I like that. And then I really think that this sketch might have the best inciting incident I've ever read, with the reading of the postcard. I'm having a lovely time. Wish you were here. I want your dick. That's just a very nice. It's nice. It's surprising, but it's been well set up. Like I really liked that part of it. Andrea, I know that you were missing for a little bit of it, but if you had a chance to read the script, do you have any thoughts on it?
Yes, sorry, my internet here is bad and I lost basically connection for all of the sketch. I really like the sketch a lot. I to be honest, I wish this were two characters in a sitcom, because that had a very, very fun, familiar feeling, and I want to see more of those two characters. Yeah, I really like it. I really, really like it. The only point that I had was that you start with these two characters that are like borderline weird, and one of them is supposed to be very gullible. And I wish a little more of reasoning for, again, I'm sorry, I don't remember the names. The one that convinces that the lady wants him to be the king of Sweden, a little bit more reasoning there, so that we know how we, as an audience member, I want to be convinced about that, and I want it to be a very, very plausible, albeit weird theory. That's my only point, but I really, really like it.
Great. Thanks for the feedback, Sorry. I love the two thoughts I think about making James more gullible and giving Brett an agenda almost. And between those two, maybe making it make more sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Brett, I think also Andrea's point of, if we had spent more time with these characters, then this scene might also be more readily acceptable if we've already established what their traits are, or that Brett is just mischievous or what have you.
Yeah.
There's really just kind of lines on every page that are really, really delightful, from "they're communists, they don't have to make sense" to
Oh yes.
the aforementioned I want your dick, and also read someone else's postcard. What do you think I am, some kind of pervert? Like that noun, choosing pervert as opposed to anything else is really delightful. There was one, again, I mean, I hate to just nitpick over small things. Why does James say that he checks his mail every day like a responsible adult? I assume he's just trying to put up a shield. He doesn't want to admit that he hadn't read her postcard until just now. But James didn't seem like a guy. Okay, like up until that point, James didn't seem like a guy who was trying to protect his reputation. Even from very early on in the script, where he says, "We haven't gotten mail in a little while," and he says, "Check under the cushion." He says, "Oh, why didn't I think of that?" Like, he doesn't say, "Yeah, I checked under the cushion. I check under the cushion every day. I'm gonna check again now." Like, he's he just didn't have that kind of reactionary thing. So him saying that, "Yeah, of course I check my mail," in the very brief time I had known James, I thought, why don't you just say, because she's going to be upset. She sent a postcard 3 weeks ago. She said that she wants her dick. That's not coy. She's obviously going to be upset that you haven't responded to it, James. You were just giving it out. Oh, Brett stole my mail. I didn't get to read it until right now. And we already know that she has a bad relationship with Brett. But maybe James doesn't know that she has a bad relationship with Brett. James doesn't pick up on things. Maybe I'm thinking too much. Does anyone else have anything, or do we want to open it up for Ben to talk about it?
I was going back to your point about how gullible James is. I was a little confused reading it the first time through. Is to see this guy really, is he really thinking that she wants him to be the king of Sweden? But I really, with the delivery on Steven's part, I thought it was really good. And I do think with a little stronger, because I couldn't really tell his roommate, excuse me, I'm forgetting his name off the top of my head. I couldn't. Yeah, with maybe a little more motive too, so the audience understands, like, oh yeah, this guy is totally, pulling the wool over this guy's eyes, and he's just like, oh, okay, I was a little uncertain about that when I was reading it as well, about that relationship. But again, I think it worked when it was performed by the actors.
Look, there's a line here that I really, really like that sets the tone for the two characters, which is, well, it has to be a typo. I want your duck. I want your deck. I want your duck. I want your deck. Do we have a deck? That's probably my. I really, really like that part.
You're right. I probably should have. I should have taken that line as more character driven than I had originally thought. Ben, do you have anything you want to respond to, or do you have anything you want to say about it?
Really grateful for the feedback and for seeing the performance. I think it's always eye-opening to see that. I mean, Aaron, I think you you mentioned something about like you want to see it faster. I think it's always very fast in my head. That's how I see it. Like people are like, but that's not very realistic for people. But yeah, I loved getting to see it. Yeah, and I love the motivation people put behind it. I think did help it make sense. I'm really excited to incorporate what y'all are saying with the beginning and establishing that relationship better. So this really feels like more of a pattern. I think the thing I felt vulnerable to here is I was really, I think your point about twisting it at the end is better for a sketch and like misdirecting things. And then we end up in a position where, oh, it was actually you were being recruited to be the king of Sweden. But I was so enamored with the original idea of the sketch of like this, who's on first kind of thing with like, oh, like you're getting
classic
in a relationship
misdirection. So I think my problem with it was that I didn't think that's what James thought.
You thought he actually was savvier.
Yeah, I didn't think that James believed. So I just had a complete misreading of the last 3 pages when I was reading it by myself until I got to that ending. Because I thought that James wasn't that gullible, so that when she comes in, I thought James knew the score, and he doesn't. Assuming that the gullibility is, I don't think it needs the twist, is I guess what I'm saying. I was expecting it because I had misconceptions about what reality was. But if I don't have those misconceptions, then I don't think it needs the twist.
Cool. Yeah, that's encouraging.
Always more Jenga. I could really use more Jenga.
There should have been Jenga at the end. Yeah, Jenga needs to come back. Yeah.
I think I was just thinking this as we were speaking. It could be very funny if when Linda sends Brett away, he just picks the Jenga tower up and takes it off stage with him.
Would it like be glued together somehow so it doesn't? Okay.
Yeah. The problem
just perfectly.
It would be glued together, and any prop master can do this. There'd be like one block that isn't. That's the block that he pushes out and removes at the top of the thing. Yeah. I mean, it's what sketch company doesn't have $30 to throw away on a Jenga set that will be rendered unusable afterwards?
I want to see the line items for y'all, like like Jenga set.
We've got weird ones.
So like Cabbage Patch doll, like whatever it is.
Yeah. Yak back pens. Buying yak back pens off of eBay.
Body parts from one of our old shows that I had upstairs in my house that my children were playing with. I'm like, did you put those back?
If no one else has anything to say on it, I think that we can probably move on. Thank you so much, Ben, for King of Sweden. Very very funny. I'm gonna keep talking until Steven gets back on. That way we don't have dead air because we.
Thank you all very much. Our next sketch is by Andrea Santoni, A Small Step for a Man.
James Rockwell, 31, an astronaut, and Velma Olsen, 29, an astronaut as well, are sitting in front of a desk. Both of them are wearing NASA clothes. The program director, a person around 60 in a military NASA formal uniform, enters the room holding document folders. James and Velma rise and give him the military salute. The director, James and Velma sit.
Let's get to the chase. As you know, we are assembling the first human expedition on Mars. You were not initially included in the crew, but due to the recent incident with the margarita machine, an opening is now available.
James and Velma look happily surprised.
Here's the catch, though. Only one spot in this unprecedented mission is available.
James and Velma are abruptly brought back down to Earth.
Now, I can spend all day reading your files, or you can make a case, here and now, about why one of you deserves the opportunity to make history.
Wow. Well, Velma and I bonded during these years, and I consider her like family, so I'm not really comfortable in...
I'm more committed. I work more hours. I train more. I get better results than her.
James is stunned. The director grabs a pen and a notepad.
Very good. Please continue.
What?
Nothing personal, Jimmy, but this is Mars we're talking about.
Ah, okay. So you want to go down this road, huh? Then I have more experience in the field, I have more flight time than her, and frankly, I'm in better physical shape.
Natural hindsight 2020 here. Are you wearing contacts right now? How's your vision?
It's not a liability. I've used glasses in space before.
Not a viability, but for sure not the prime choice. Like, random example, your uneven number of nipples?
The director writes on his notepad, nodding.
Odd number nipples. Probably 3, possibly 5.
Yes, I have 3 nipples. So what? Hey, you know what else I have? A PhD in engineering.
Oh, surprise, surprise, the PhD. How long can you resist without mentioning it? Let me guess, 5 whole minutes?
Sometimes even 10. Jealous much?
Of what? Of a third rate, second at best PhD?
Oh, gather round the fire, children. Let me tell you the story of the regular nippled Ivy League dropout who never got her master's.
The director puts away the notepad and starts quickly writing on a computer.
No masters, possible dropout, maybe illiterate. Check later.
Well, somebody has to work for a living. Not everybody can mooch off parents. How much was your last weekly allowance? About 5,000
So what if my parents are rich? Are you going to play the self-made woman coming from nothing card? Let me save you the effort. It's not that sad of a story when you discover that Brown paid for your studies because you're good at volleyball.
At least I'm good at something.
Oh yeah, volleyball and shitting yourself in the gym.
The director stands up and begins writing Olsen versus Rockwell on a chalkboard behind his desk. He proceeds to write a score and some notes under those names every time Velma or James finish a sentence.
I told you that in confidence. That was a secret.
Oh, please. Everybody in the gym has a functional nose, Velma. At least before the margarita blender incident.
Thoughts and prayers.
Thoughts and prayers.
Thoughts and prayers.
Miss Olsen, please elaborate on your fecal mishap and please describe the smell in...
It was an accident, and it's not going to be a problem with the astronaut diaper. And anyway, it's a testament to my work commitment.
A testament to no bowel control, maybe.
Oh, you want to talk about you want to talk about control? Really? Yeah, let's talk about control, Mr. MIT keg stand. Is your record still holding? I'm not talking about your time on the keg. I'm talking about how many girls in a row can reject your sorry drunken ass. Oh, by the way, having sex with a girl's shoes doesn't break the streak.
James is steaming.
Dr. Rockwell, did you have sexual intercourse with a piece of footwear? I assume you asked for consent to all the parties involved.
I didn't. It's not like that. It's complicated.
What's complicated? You fucked a shoe. Hey, you can use that speech for the Mars landing. This is a small step for a shoe I once fucked at a party.
How about this for a speech? It's a small step for a man. It's a big boot in your ass.
Oh, you want to take this outside?
Hell yes.
Come at me, bro. Prepare to have your ass handed over by a girl.
Velma and James awkwardly exit the room while fighting each other. The unflappable director sits in silence. He spends some time checking his notes, his computer, and ultimately the chalkboard, then takes up the phone on his desk. He composes a number while looking at his notepad.
This is Director Stanwell? Yes, I just met with the candidates. About the Mars mission, yeah. Are we sure we don't want to stick with robots? What about monkeys like the 60s? We should have a whole lot available. Oh, margarita machine again. Thoughts and prayers.
Blackout.
Writers, turn on your camera and discuss the material.
Forgotten to clap after each piece, so this is for all three of you in a lot of ways. Anybody want to open up discussion on Small Step for a Man? First of all, Andrea, this is a family show. What were you thinking?
Well, I should have known before, I guess, but well, I'm out of here. Thank you.
I was laughing like out loud the whole time when I read it, and when it was performed, it was great too. I've been blessed to get to see a lot of Andrea's pieces, and they always crack me up. There's just so much. I really love everything. I love the relationship, obviously, between the two, and all of the jokes, just everything. I put screwing the shoe, asking the shoe for consent. There was so much stuff that I was just like laughing at. It's really, really good. The nipples. I wrote down.
What else can you say? The nipples.
Yeah, I liked the escalation of it, and I really liked the characters and their banter, and I liked Steven as the director. I like the director's reactions to that their arguments, how outlandish it is.
The director is a really great addition to change the flow of what otherwise would be an amusing but normal argument. The director has just a kind of this weight on the pace of the scene.
Yes.
And he also very effectively underlines the ridiculousness of what all the characters are saying.
I absolutely love that. That had me laughing. Him taking notes of the worst pieces of info that they're sharing about each other. I love it. It was cracking me up.
I love the image of him pulling out the blackboard or getting the blackboard and starting to keep score and tallies. I love that so much. I would love to see that happen sooner. I think right now he's escalating from notepad to computer to the blackboard, and I could almost see it like pretty quick in there. Like he's just already at the blackboard. There's so many fun things like does that deserve a point or not? Like these moments and like circling points or then crossing them out later because you change your mind about it. Like drawing a weird arrow to emphasize. There's so much fun stuff that can be done with that blackboard. I thought that was a really
that was actually Aaron's idea, if I recall correctly. The blackboard and all the physicality of the director, because I usually my characters are pretty static, and so that was a very good point. Yeah, well, but thank you for the feedback.
Actually, to sort of piggyback on that, I think that there are two main things that I think will help escalate this sketch up to the next level, and I do think it's really spectacular work, especially. I mean, just go fuck yourself, Andrea. Thoughts and prayers is very funny, especially like it comes back at the end in a really beautiful way. It's just a really spectacular way to end a sketch. I think that kind of like what Ben was saying, the environment, if you can use the environment more to not only do what the director, like I was imagining at one point him going up to a two-way mirror and just kind of tapping it and like pointing out at something. Or for some reason, I was also thinking of him getting a basketball foul sign and just like hitting a buzzer that says that this James gets the point or whatever. I thought like all of that could be really good. I think that there's an element of where you can, all of these characters, even though they're in an argument and even though they're being very spiteful to each other, they are very logical in a way that I think that if you strip out some of that logic from how they are talking, you can start getting into just some really gross aspects of human behavior.
Okay.
And there are a few times, I'm going to point out one or two in a second, but there are times when I think an insult is lobbed at a character and they like block, and then they justify, and then they like defend themselves again. And I think that if you cut out like if you jump straight to their justification and then yell their justification, could be very funny. Specifically, he says that when we get to the part where she pooped herself, please describe the smell in detail. And her line currently is, "It was an accident. It's not going to be a problem with the astronaut diaper in any way. It's a testament to my work commitment." If he says, "Please describe the incident," she just shouts, "It's a testament to my work commitment." Like, I think that if she just immediately goes to the last part of her line, that it could be very fair. There's another one. Also, let me tell you the story of the regular nippled Ivy League dropout is it's just great. It's just really good stuff. There.
While Aaron is researching, I'll pop in the margarita machine incident. Very fun idea. You don't need to explain it fully. I was so intrigued by them losing their smell. I loved it. I was just like, I had to stop and think about like what could make that happen. But
I love it.
Yeah. The thing that I was weird about that is at the end, the director was surprised that monkeys were. I would attribute anything to the margarita machine incident now, but the director was surprised that monkeys were involved with it, and I thought the director would know all the details of it. So that part didn't quite line up for me yet. It's probably close. Maybe it's like there was another one, and that's another way to escalate the margarita machine incident. We didn't learn. We never learned. We keep playing with these things that we're not, that humanity can't understand. Yeah.
If somebody like walks in at one point and just hands him a page and he just goes, margarita machine, and then just sets it down, I think like as though this is an ongoing thing. I think that would help.
Is it like an emerging situation? Like this happened like this morning, or that would be fun.
Yeah.
Oh, here's the other one. Like when she says, "Are you wearing contacts right now? How's your vision?" If he just says, "I've used glasses before," like just them immediately jumping to something that's spiteful, or because this is something that people do in arguments. I mean, I do it in arguments, so I assume people do it. Is they'll say whatever the first thing is in their head, and even if it doesn't really make sense, and then they'll try and justify it afterwards.
Oh, okay.
And I don't have a great example of that at the moment. Like, I can't think of something someone shouts, but if one of them said something. But yeah, basically, if the characters are even less reasonable than they are now, James and Velma are more angry and more spiteful. I think that you can take the very little fat that is in the sketch and make it very lean.
Okay. And they can fall apart over time too. I love the record scratch moment. Really worked with, like, oh yeah, we're all in this together, and then like, nope, throwing you under the bus.
Yeah, very good.
Totally works. Yeah, it was great.
If James just starts doing push-ups. Like, even if he doesn't announce that he's doing push-ups, Velma's talking and then he just starts doing push-ups on the floor. If you think, like, I know you said that your characters are very static. If you just kind of try to imagine, how would I do this sketch if I couldn't do any words? What would I do if that is all, like, it's going to be completely silent and they're going to walk in and they're going to have to occasionally like start shouting at each other, or put their hand on their heart and bow their head, or do whatever it is. Like, how can you imagine every single moment and whatever funny comes out of that just just call it out in the script. I think could be useful.
I'll try and do that. That's a very, very nice exercise.
Also, thank you, Kathryn, for that uniform. No one's mentioned the uniform.
Oh yeah, that was great.
was
That was
great.
actually
It's very nice. Any other thoughts on A Small Step for a Man?
MIT Kegstand, I didn't appreciate that when I was reading it, but when I heard it out loud, I was like, that's absurd. Yeah. I like it.
Also Kathryn's old man voice, also really fantastic. Like the entire idea that James has done a 180 on his perspective so quick, and I love it. Where it just it's very funny. Very funny. Andrea, do you have anything to say about it?
no, I like a lot how the actors did it, like spot on. So no, I really appreciate the feedback.
Excellent. Then I think we can move on to our final feature of the evening. Of course, I'll continue to slow this sentence down until Stephen begins to talk whenever he...
Interrupting. I hate interrupting so much. Can you speak to the end of the sentence so I can know?
No!
So our next sketch is Permanent Accessory by Aaron Garrett.
Eloise glides into her apartment, not drunk enough to be a little sloppy, and having lots of fun. She has a bounce in her step. She has an engagement ring.
What a beautiful diamond, she said. He's a keeper. That's the one that was, I'm like, I know it's fake.
She flomps onto the couch, kicking her shoes off wherever. She'll deal with it in the morning. Daniel enters, wearing much warmer clothing, carrying her purse. He's not having as great a time.
You left this on the steps.
Inside or outside?
Does it matter?
Thank you, Daniel. You wanted a thank you, right? Thank you, Daniel.
I want you to be conscientious. It's cold enough outside that
What's outside?
I don't know why you had to sit on the stoop anyway.
Because otherwise I would have fallen over, and that's just not very ladylike.
Maybe without the 3 martinis, you'd have held your ground.
You need to watch what you say. We are engaged now.
I don't like that either.
Because they think you're cheap.
I asked you to stop.
Because you are kind of cheap. Stop. Stop. We get free dessert every time I make you fake propose.
It's embarrassing.
You think you can keep me in the pot de creme without fake proposals?
Please, Eloise.
Please, Eloise. You should write a children's book.
I really don't like it.
Eloise claps her hands together.
Toss her back over here.
Daniel fishes into his jacket pocket and pulls something out. We don't see it, but he takes a second.
What's the holdup, soldier?
He quickly puts it away and fishes a ring box from another pocket. He tosses it to her.
I was in the Navy,
That makes one of us.
so I wasn't a soldier.
It's a term of endearment, sweetie. I call everyone by ranks in the military.
Uh-huh.
My last boyfriend was a rear brigadier. I'm hoping one day you will be too.
It's not that I'm not fun. It's that you're too wrong to correct right now.
You're such a sour face.
I should get going.
Sour faces don't make officer.
Eloise. Good night.
No. Sit down.
I have work in the morning.
One beer.
You've already had 3 martinis.
Eloise goes to the kitchen and grabs 2 beers. Daniel sits on the couch.
I don't want one.
You always say that.
She puts her feet in his lap as she opens their beers.
Corporal, it's very, very funny to see people lose their minds over an engagement to people they don't know and don't like.
You don't understand.
They were judging us before. Look at the way we were dressed.
I'm dressed.
I'm dressed then. And not only is it funny, it's so much funnier to watch your face get red when you don't see it coming.
Mm-hmm.
And you could stop it, but you never do because you like it. Oh my God, Daniel, yes, of course. I only wish Oma were here around. We're still around. Everyone claps. Your Boy Scout heart is shamefully happy.
It's lying.
It makes everyone's nights happier. Think story.
I wanted tonight to be special.
It is. You know why?
Why?
She leans in close to his face.
Because tonight's the night you're making me grilled cheese.
She digs into his ribs with her toes.
Okay.
Right?
Daniel gets up and goes to the kitchen. Eloise stretches out on the couch. It's a perfect night.
You love me.
Yeah, I know.
Phone starts ringing.
Oh,
Very
God,
annoying.
Where's my phone? Oh, geez.
She
In
falls
your
off
purse,
the couch.
it's on the.
No, my work phone.
She scrambles off into her bedroom.
It's 2 a.m. Why would your work phone be?
She returns with her phone, fishes a Bluetooth earpiece from a candy bowl off the coffee table.
I'm on call.
She slips shoes on, fixes her hair in the mirror.
They can't see you.
Shut up.
She looks at herself approvingly and inserts the earpiece. Suddenly, she is completely sober and articulate.
Good morning en bandet vår tabellen narbedische teknologien. Vanjusa. Mein Name ist Eloise. What is your problem? Okay, okay. Staat in ordne pictogram op het onderstation. Als in opengrest. Zoals in Drijkok. Het speak me. Het is meer in abricus.
She rolls her eyes. Daniel stares, confused and intrigued.
Je hebt gelijk. Er is. He hebt geluk, mijn vriend. Dat is een defecte optisch kabel. Ik stuur onmiddellijk in technicals. Wat? Geen kopsken. Natuurlijk. Een fantastieke dagwaarde en bindet weer voor het kiezen van de meest technologieën van Newsom.
She pulls out her headpiece and drops back into drunkenness and types on her phone.
I wish I met you when I was 17. Before I kept my hands so clean. And done. Where were we?
What was that?
Work.
At 2 a.m.
You know, if it's 5 o'clock somewhere, it's normal business hours somewhere else.
You coordinating hits for the Finnish mob?
It's boring. Don't worry about it. Are our grillers ready?
Riddlers?
That's what my mom called them. Shut up. I'm cute.
Yeah, you are.
Daniel pulls a plate out and cuts the sandwich.
I'm plating it now.
Ooh, plating them? Next, you're going to open up a pop-up of a concept with small foods.
Eloise moves to the couch.
It's got to be better than electrical work.
Daniel sits on the far end of the couch from her. He hands her half the sandwich and takes half.
Hey, now, I did not say that I wanted half a sandwich.
He knows she's joking, but he doesn't have anything to say, so with a shrug, he takes a bite.
Look at Mr. Fancy Cutting with your triangles.
Nothing. Daniel is thinking. She curls up into him, nibbles on her sandwich.
I had a fun time tonight. Thank you.
Go ahead.
You know, if you're going to marry me, you shouldn't, obviously, but if you were going to, you should do it tonight.
Why?
I'm 38 next week. After that, I shrivel up and become a pumpkin, didn't you know?
I'll take that under advisement.
She scratches under his chin.
Stay over?
No.
Come on.
No, my tools are at my apartment.
Who needs tools?
Electricians need tools.
You're probably right. Can you stay until I get ready for bed? I'll make it worth your while.
Not on call anymore?
She kisses him on the cheek, takes both beers, and heads to her bedroom, singing the top of 17. Daniel takes the dishes to clean them. He returns to the couch. After a moment, he pulls out a different ring box from his jacket pocket. He looks at it, looks towards her bedroom door. With a sigh, he puts it away.
Introducing Teenage Boy Fascinator of the Year, of the decade, the girl who puts the bile back in nubile, the sexy, scandalous, sanctimonious, Eloise Harper.
She appears, posing in the doorframe, an old, oversized college t-shirt, her hair pulled back in a Miss Muffet cap. It is not attractive. Doing her own walk-up music, she sashays toward him. Going along with the joke, he wolf whistles and claps. Putting her hands on his knees, she leans down and looks him in the eyes seductively as she pops a retainer in her mouth.
It's the retainer that really puts men over the edge.
She laughs and falls into him. He chuckles.
Okay. I know you need to go.
She pulls him to his feet and walks him to the door.
Don't text when you get home. I'm saving my energy for Brussels.
They kiss, but instead of breaking apart, she slides her head down to his chest and won't let go.
I won't do it again.
No. I don't think I will either. I love you.
Obviously.
They kiss again. He leaves. She locks the door. Blackout.
Writers?
Y'all, that was so sweet.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like I just want to keep watching that forever. Like, I'm just like, I wish it was just a very long show that I could, I was like sitting there and I'm like, I could just watch this forever. Like, I really loved it.
Yeah, so many things. I don't know. I'll probably just range around randomly hitting on beats that I loved, and maybe we'll stumble on something we could improve or intrigue Aaron with. Flomps. I couldn't get over Flomps when I read it, and when I heard it, I was like, oh yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
And the drunk fixation, drunk can be hard to write and act and perform. And I thought that was done well. The fixation was really cool. That really sold it for me. Of like fixation on weird, obscure things.
Yes. I thought Clarity did an awesome job too. That character is so nuanced. There's a lot. It was just a great character, and I just thought there's just so much there that was, even in this little time that she's had to prepare, really brought to life just that up and down, and just she's very just that eccentric but fun, and I really enjoyed that, particularly that character. Yeah, I thought the dynamic between the two was really good. But yes, I really liked her character.
Yeah, I always felt like I understood why Eloise was doing what she was doing. She did random things, like a bunch of different things, like very out there things, but it was like, I get it. Yeah, that she just is doing what she wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For Steven's character, did you ever feel like that? Like I still got that there was still love there, even though sometimes I was like, oh, like I want him to catch a little bit of like some love, a little bit of extra love there, but like I really enjoyed that, even though, you know, I didn't feel like he was getting like too you know, not too much of a punching bag or whatever. I really liked still the dynamic there.
Yep, me too. Actually, I really like the male character. It's grounded. It still shows a lot of love, and it's very, very nice.
Yes, yeah, I like the subtlety that's in Steven's character. And then just the interplay too. I even, you know, I like I said, I could have kept watching it forever. I was really like engaged in what was going on with them, even though it was very simple. It was just a moment in time. It wasn't, you know, I really like that. And there was again, the action around, I think, all served very well. And it was just, I really liked it. I really liked it.
Yeah, I think it was neat that I didn't feel like they were ever cruel to each other. And sometimes, like, for the benefit of comedy, people are like cruel to each other in a way like, oh, that's an ended relationship right there. But yeah, I felt like I could get it. I don't think this has to be resolved necessarily. I found myself wanting to know what motivates Daniel. Like, why would you? This situation seems hard. Why are you sticking around? And yeah, I think I got it.
But it's a thing that we do as humans, and that's very. I mean, you can really feel the character. That's why I like Daniel so much.
I do too. Yeah, that's why I was like, oh, you know, you want him to get a little more love because you're like, okay, he's almost like a punch. I feel like I don't want him to be like, you know, totally stepped on. But I really do think it was written in a way where, you know, he still retains some, he still retains his position. You just see almost just like, yes, his love there. It's not really like a sad situation, like a puppy dog situation. I liked it. I really did. Yeah.
There's only one thing that I didn't get immediately, and even now, is like there's the whole implication that actually Daniels wants to marry Eloise for good, and still is surprised about the Netherlands job, the Dutch speaking part, which, I mean, I don't know, but I think that maybe you should be aware of that, especially since they're like that deep into the relationship.
Yeah, they're already at fake proposals, so
yeah,
it's deep.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, and I guess he really was not aware. I don't think there's any confusion about that. I think he really was like mystified for a second there. So yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I thought, and I agree with that. Yeah, I felt like that caught me off guard at first, but maybe that's just like, you know, the mysterious thing about this. I was like wondering for a bit, is Daniel in love with the Finnish tech support version of Eloise now? Like, is this what keeps him? Was he about to step away, but this is what keeps him in the relationship? But then at the end, I was like, oh no, he loves retainer Eloise. He loves that. He loves her. That was cool to see.
Yeah, and I guess it shows him being captivated by some of her oddball moments, and like I guess she's full of surprises. So that kind of hit home that that he's like continually captivated. But I really do, like you said, at the end they bring it back down to earth, and it's like, me and my PJs, we still love each other, or, you know, I love you as you are, like without all the, you know, you don't have to be doing tech support. It's just like as you are, you know.
Yeah.
Thank y'all. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I was worried when I set out to write it, I wanted it to be much funnier than it turned out to be. And then just kind of at every juncture, there's like, well, I can be sad. Like I can be very funny, or I can be, this is kind of an awkward moment and I should probably take the awkward moment. So I'm glad that that y'all weren't bored by it. I'm glad that you liked the
Not at all.
characters and that you were engaged by it. Y'all gave me a lot to think about, which is really good.
There's a beautiful thing about the piece, is that about being not so funny, is that when you start reading it, you expect the funny thing to come, and it does. There's nothing like clearly super funny. There's not the big funny deal about the sketch, but the piece actually tries to, like, you want more. You expect the funny thing to happen in the second part of the sketch, which is a very, like in another story about Daniel and Eloise, which is a beautiful thing in my opinion.
Awesome. Thank you. It's a very nice compliment. I'm taking it as it is a comment on it, but I'm taking it as a compliment.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, no, the relationship between the two of them, I was worried that it would that Eloise would come across as too domineering or too needling or too mean, because my wife wasn't a big fan. My wife's not a big fan of stories like this, so I knew she wasn't going to enjoy the script. But she specifically felt that Eloise was too much of who she is. And then I also wanted to try and get across that Daniel is he's a stuffed shirt kind of guy, but he's still having fun. Like he may not look like he's having fun, but he's getting something out of this. And it sounds like it's close to there, but maybe I need to make it a little softer or have Daniel break a little bit more.
Maybe a little lightened
Yeah.
up. I didn't get the sense that he's getting like abused, like, just, he's nothing out of it. He's just kind of a little like punching bag. But I didn't feel that.
There's maybe one point if that's your intention, maybe you want to tone down the Navy soldier thing, because that felt a little personal.
Like the intent behind it, and maybe if I just put like a parenthetical there that says being light or something, the intent is that he's trying to have a conversation. He's not like trying to have a deep conversation, but he's trying to, like, the man's not good at making jokes, but he sees like, oh, maybe there's a joke in here somewhere that I can start to do. Like Eloise is very funny. I am not very funny. But yeah, no, that's a good idea. And then Ben, no, Andrea, yeah, you're right. I was sitting there thinking, shouldn't he know what her job is? Like this is straining credulity. But I think what I may try to do is go in earlier and make it clear that Eloise has kept some other stuff from him, because the reason he doesn't know is because she's just very guarded. So they don't talk about it. But I'm glad you all enjoyed it. I thought Ben and Kathryn did a great job with it. I'm glad Flomps worked, because I was very proud of Flomps.
The right word.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I said, what's she gonna do to this couch? She's gonna flomp on it.
One of my favorite lines was, "You're too wrong to correct right now." Like,
yes,
love it. Oh my
that.
gosh.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I got that he's still trying to lighten up and still have a good time and getting something out of it, because he was patient with her in such like a stable, nice way for her state, and then his state. He was just patient in a loving way that I really liked. Going back to what Ben said about that line, that he's just, I really liked that.
And I was okay. Like by the end of the scene, I was okay with how sharp she'd been at the beginning, because I was okay with the experience of having wondered to myself, like, why is Daniel still in this arrangement? This relationship, this repetitive thing, like what keeps him in there? I was okay with that experience of having wondered to myself and had it. think sufficiently justified later.
Awesome. That's really interesting to think about as well. For sure. Any final thoughts on Permanent Accessory?
I wanted to keep watching it. I will say I loved it.
Oh, well, they're all dead now, Natalie. Unfortunately, those characters have ceased to exist until
I
such
really
time.
Well,
evolved.
they're not dead until you actually kill them. That's my endings usually.
This is an incomplete sketch. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's
Nobody
fair.
died. I'm sad.
Yeah.
Setup, inciting incident, rising action, murder.
Murder action. Yeah. Is it?
Yes. yes.
Oh, from killing my characters. I say it right there.
In which case, I think we can invite our host back on to close the evening out. But will he say anything if I continue to talk right now, or will he be shocked into silence?
Thank you all for coming out. Thank you, viewers, for watching. Let's have a round of applause for our writers, Aaron, Ben, Natalie, and Andrea, as well as our actors, Clarity, Fudge, Diana, Kathryn, and myself. Go ahead and come on stage if you all have your cameras available. If you have enjoyed tonight's show, please consider donating at Aaron knows the address.
You can donate to Pronoia Theater at either through PayPal, paypal.me/Pronoia Theater, or Venmo at Pronoia. We really appreciate it. It helps us make fun things like this.
If you don't think that you're going to remember those links, you can also find them on our website, which is www.pronoiatheater.com. It's spelled exactly like you think it is if you're not British. Thank you all very much.
Yes, if I may. If you enjoyed tonight's production and would like to either be an actor or a writer in a future Pitchers Mound, if you go to pronoiatheater.com and not pronoiatheater.com, then you will see a little tab that says Get Involved, and there you can send us a message to say, hey, I want to write something, or I want to perform with y'all, or you can connect with us. My name's Aaron Garrett. His name is Steven Saltsman. You can find us. We're not hard to find.
All right. Thank you all very much, and we hope you have a great evening and an excellent week until next Thursday, when we'll see you on Production Meeting.